Happy Monday and welcome to our Fiery Embers show, which means that you will not have the pleasure of getting tips on how to get fitter or faster. Instead, you're going to learn which pastry is the best to eat after a long run, and even that is going to be debated. So don't get so hung up on the information, shall we say. Today, I'm going to be joined by a friend and one of the very first people to raise their hand and say that they will help me when I decided to launch Run, Try, Bike. It was a grand gesture that over 4 years has proven to be true. And I'm super excited to have our guest on today so that we can laugh about nutrition and music, as they are a big Taylor Swift fan. So without any more words from me, let's bring Stevie Smith to the show and let's have a few chuckles. Hey, Stevie, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. You're one of my favorite people to engage with, both in public and in private.
That's good. I love to hear it.
There are some things that don't need to be seen on the internet when we start having our fun conversations. I know that for a fact.
This is true. And those email subject lines always start with, well, hello.
Yes. And by the way, whale, for those of you who don't understand, is spelled W-H-A-L-E, as in whale, hello. So it's November 11th. You live in Buffalo. It's got to be chilly at this point. So what are we eating after a long run these days?
Okay, well, I will say, I just opened my phone app. It's actually 55 degrees here right now, which is 10 degrees above the average daily high, but it feels like 42 because it is always windy in Buffalo, TM, as I like to say. Oh yeah, after a long run, well, I always have chocolate milk after I finish a run, but that's like the quick snack to head into the meal. It's definitely pancake season, if you're
Yes.
asking me.
What are we topping it with? Whipped cream, strawberries, blueberries, syrup, butter? Yes, all of the above.
Syrup, butter for sure, and then whatever berries I might have around. Sometimes I love chocolate chip pancakes, though.
Yes.
So we
Now, when
cook the
you
chocolate chips right in there.
absolutely. Oh, I'm already drooling. It's only 9 o'clock on the West Coast, by the way, so it's still breakfast time for me.
Wait a minute. Breakfast is anytime of the day.
That's true. That's very true.
Correction.
Yes, I need the RD to correct me on the verbiage. Absolutely. Pancakes, though. So, are you the kind of person that puts butter on each pancake as you build the stack, or are you just pouring it all over the top and hoping for the best?
No, no, no. Each individual pancake gets buttered, and then you stack them to make sure it melts because it's got to be melted in there. Yeah, no, no, no. We don't hope for the best. It's very calculated, very precise.
Yes, and I'm very precise about how I eat my pancakes. So, are you the kind of person that just takes the fork and goes right through the whole stack? Or are you taking a knife, cutting a row, and then cutting little pieces, and then you could stab like the smaller rows?
Oh yeah, individual, individual. Yeah,
I love
we
the
can't mash it all together.
no, like I see people take a fork and they just go right down the pancake, and I'm like, no, 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 what are you doing? You gotta
No, no,
cut
no,
it.
no. Yeah, strategy, strategy.
Yeah. I posted this morning on Threads a tray of brownies, and I said, which piece of this brownie tray are you going? And it's like 4 rows with 3 columns. So there's like 12 brownies in there. So if I put that picture
Mhm.
in front of you, which brownie are you grabbing first?
Always a center brownie.
Really?
Yeah, no, always center. Gotta like it to be gooey. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know, not a big crunch person when it comes to the brownies.
So then you got to use a spoon more often than not, right? Because the gooey you can't pick up with your hand.
Yeah, you use like a knife to just like get the leverage to get it out of the pan. I always
Oh,
work for the center out. The center out.
that's what my therapist said about friends. The ones that are in the bullseye are the ones you keep, and the ones that are towards the edge you can get rid of.
Applies to brownies too. We love
He clearly knew what he was talking about back then.
it.
What are you topping your brownies with? Anything? Do you go nuts? Ice cream?
Well, I mean, vanilla ice cream on a warm brownie is nice, but I don't need it to make the brownie. Like the brownie itself can be the star of the show.
Yeah.
Um, but if I ever do put anything on it, it's definitely vanilla ice cream for sure.
So good. You know, I like to scroll back and find people's food pictures on their posts before I bring them onto a Fiery Ember show. And you have a picture back from May 31st, mind you. So I scrolled quite a bit. And there is a picture of ice cream or froyo with rainbow sprinkles. And I have to know, is it always rainbow sprinkles or will you go chocolate sprinkles sometimes?
Always rainbow sprinkles. There's no other sprinkle. They taste better than chocolate sprinkles. It's science. Yep. And now, if I'm getting ice cream, it's usually soft serve because in New York, upstate New York, central New York, western New York, the soft serve is elite. Custard just hits different. But I did go to a very fancy, like homemade ice cream shop last week, and they don't have soft serve, which is fine. But let me tell you, I think I sent you this because you saw it on my story.
Yep.
Their ice cream was delicious. And that is where I will stray away from the chalk van twist with rainbow sprinkles. Only in situations like that, very unique situations.
Yeah, it was like pumpkin and sweet potato, right, with chocolate combination.
Yeah. And pecans or pecans. I don't know. I'm from New York. I say pecans, but I think it's pecan. Maple homemade marshmallows in it too. Oh my gosh, it was so good.
Just preparing for the Thursday Thanksgiving dessert foray right there. Just that's like an appetizer, pregame warm up.
Right?
What's your favorite part of the Thanksgiving meal?
Oh, mashed potatoes, 100%.
Really?
Oh yeah, mashed potatoes are the star of the show.
Do you put cheese in them, or are you just like all cream and get it all thinned out like that?
Okay, so I don't make the mashed potatoes, so beggars can't be choosers. But all good mashed potatoes have some sort of dairy in them.
Yeah.
Don't at me. I like them because I like to actually like put obviously butter, gravy, but I like to like put my turkey in them. So it's like
yeah, you can mash it all up, right? Like what is the nutritional plate? It always has like lines on it, like you're supposed to separate stuff. And I'm like, no, remove the line, just put it all on the plate. Give me a spoon. Let me go to work. I don't need it all.
The performance plate is what you're talking about.
Yeah. Like, I just want it all. Like, give me one spoon. I go straight through the middle, pick up whatever's on there. It's all going to the same place eventually.
Well, but Jason, people got to understand that how much they actually need to have. But then once you do it, you can mix it all together. And it's funny. You sound like my late grandfather. He just like scrape everything. It's all going to the same place is what he would say.
By the way,
I grew up with that mentality.
Yeah. I've had that mentality since I was 17. So I've been 17 going on 80 for the longest time already. Just give it all.
This tracks.
Yeah, like I like when I open up the drawer, the utensil drawer, I never take out a fork. I always take out a spoon, and it just reminds me like I'm just shoveling all of this shit into my face hole. Like I don't want to poke at it and like get one little piece. I just want like a mound of stuff ready to go.
And if you were one of my clients, I would be talking to you about your mealtime hygiene right now and making sure you're slowing down and actually chewing your food thoroughly. See, you would be getting that lecture.
Yeah, I need that lecture. I'm the worst. Like I was watching a TV show the other day and they sat down. It was like a business lunch and the people were cutting and doing everything prim and proper. And I was like, that was never me at a business lunch. Like I would inhale the food, move the plate to the side, and let's get down to business. Like, I don't know. People are doing the right thing, I guess, in taking their time to, what is it, 10 chews before swallowing or something like that? Isn't there a rule?
At least 10 chews. Yeah, there is. And it's important for digestion, right? I see a lot of people come to me and they're like, oh, I'm always bloated or my stomach always hurts. And they're like, I eliminated gluten and dairy and it didn't help. And I'm like, yeah. So like, let's see what your meal time, I would say 75% of the time they're either like not actually chewing their foods, they're eating too fast, or they're eating like super stressed out, answering work emails at their desk and like in high stress situations. I'm like, okay, let's start here and work on it.
All right, I'm bringing in the police to scan for cameras in my house since you just described everything I do.
I mean, I always like to call the kettle black. I do eat at my desk a lot, but it doesn't hurt my tummy. And I can slow down, right?
I don't get stomach pains, but I definitely don't slow down. Like I just love to eat, plain and simple. I just love all those flavors in there. One of the
So
things
if you slow down, you could chew them more and enjoy them more.
Yeah, so you say. Just because you have all those letters behind your last name. I'm gonna go find Todd from Tuscaloosa, who's got a YouTube channel with like 700 followers, to tell me the opposite.
Let me know how that works out.
I will not be an N equals 1 for Todd. Sorry, anybody named Todd who lives in Tuscaloosa who's got a YouTube channel promoting this stuff. You're a Taylor Swift fan through and through. What is your favorite song of hers? Can you narrow it down? Can you bring it down to one song?
Why would you make me choose?
Because we are hard-hitting journalists here. We bring the hard-hitting questions to this platform.
I don't know. I don't think I can pick just one. Honestly, it depends on my mood. Like right now, it's like the Taylor Swift for fall playlist. So like all of her like moody songs. But if I had to choose one, I would say probably my favorite song is The One from Folklore. But of course, like when it comes to music and even food, right? Yeah. You can always connect it back to like a certain time in your life and like how that was so impactful or how that makes you think of X, Y, or Z. So I think that's a big piece of that song. Is like that album came out in August of 2020. So like we were all in it. Yes. We were very isolated. I was very isolated. And I was like, man, she just gets my feelings right now.
Let's paint the picture. It's a fall day in Buffalo. You've got The One listening to. You're in some loose-fitting pants, sweatpants, maybe a sweatshirt, right? It's just that right setting. The window is cracked. The breeze is coming through. Maybe some rain.
Time out. The window is not cracked. The windows are closed, and the heat is at 70.
I'm trying to paint a fall scene here, not dead of winter.
Time out.
What's on the plate of food then while the 70-degree heat is on and the wind is blowing outside with leaves and The One is on? What's the plate?
I got to focus. I'm shifting into soup mode.
Nice.
I made chili yesterday.
Beans or no beans? I know there's a rule on chili that either has beans or no beans. I don't know the rule. I don't follow them.
Beans and meat for me.
Nice.
Yep. I did black beans and I have stew meat. Poblano peppers, bell peppers. And then like in the summer when I get too much corn from my CSA, I cook it, cut it off the cob, freeze it, and then I put it in my chili in the winter.
So now you put the bowl of chili, you put the chili in the bowl. Are you adding Fritos to it, cheese to it, sour cream, chives? Like what's going on top of the chili? Anything? Or just give me what I just made. It's perfect as it is.
Oh no, there's always shredded cheese. I have guacamole because I didn't feel like avocados here, subpar. Like even if they're on sale, they never taste good. So I'm like, why am I spending my money on this?
Buffalo's I'm just going to get avocados.
I mean, shockingly, it's not an avocado hotbed. So I get guacamole, definitely shredded cheese, and I actually put Greek yogurt into mine instead of nothing against sour cream. I do like sour cream, but I always have Greek yogurt anyways. And like sour cream, I don't use that much. So if I do get it, it tends to go bad. So I just like have the Greek yogurt. As also one of my toxic traits is I make my chili like way too spicy. So the Greek yogurt cools it down a little bit. And I do have tortilla chips. I do tortilla chips, not Fritos.
So you just
nothing against Fritos.
No, nothing against Fritos. Look, the fact that you're putting chips in there should tell all the athletes listening to this, like, eat the food, man.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that you just mentioned that I have been railing on for years is like this idea that everything needs to come in a package that's for a serving size of 12. Like, I just need like a squeeze packet of sour cream. I just need like a little bit of mayo. I don't need to buy the 700-ounce jar. Like, why don't food manufacturers make something for people who don't live with 12 other people in their house?
It's discrimination.
I mean, we
I
need
mean, it's if it lasts a while, like fine, right? But like sour cream,
no.
that ain't gonna last forever, you know?
Mayonnaise is another thing in that list. Like, it doesn't last forever. And it's not like I'm going to be eating tuna and sandwiches 4 times a day to get through the entire jar. Like, give me a smaller jar, man. I see them at hotels. I know you make them.
Right?
All right. That's my political stance for the day. What is your favorite flavor of potato chip?
Ooh, dill pickle or ketchup. You can tell we're close to Canada with those flavors.
Yeah, and they're polar opposites. Like, one is like acidic in its way. I mean, I know tomatoes are a little bit acidic, but like a ketchup potato chip doesn't bring the acidity the way a dill pickle potato chip would.
Canada has the most elite chips. Every time I did an Ironman up there, I was like, Mom, we got to go to the grocery store and get all of the flavors of chips.
Is there a brand, a particular Canadian brand? Or does like Lay's make them up there?
I think it's usually Lay's or like one of the bigger brand. Like I think Ruffles is. I don't know. Don't quote me on it. People are gonna come at me. I just get really hyper focused on the flavor. It's also been a minute since I've done an Ironman up there, so it's been a while.
We've had that discussion too. Like earlier this year, I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go do 70.3 Indian Wells." I got like 6 or 8 weeks into the training. I'm like, man, fuck this. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, a December 70.3 is a choice.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, we live in SoCal, so it's gorgeous. Like, you could ride your bike right now. It's going to be in the 60s. It's fantastic. It's not a problem. But I was like, I just don't want to do this anymore. Like, I'll just go run on the trails for the same amount of time that I'm going to be on my bike. And I love riding, but I think that goes to the whole idea of like food choices too, right? Pick the thing that makes you happiest, not the thing that you see, trending on the internet. I can't imagine. And I know you and I have talked about this before, how frustrating it has to be as an RD to see like the latest trending X or trending Y when you're like, I've gone to school. I've been educated. I continue to educate myself on all of these things. Why are we paying attention to, 4 grams of rice with 3 squeezes of lemon on it? Like, please make it stop.
Right. And, it's like people usually don't have the basics down, like the not glamorous things. Like, are you even sleeping? Like,
Right.
what's going on? Are you actually eating enough vegetables? Are you, it's just like anything, kind of like with the stomach stuff. It's easier to hyper focus on like a few things or like excluding things from your usual intake, right? Like, it's easier to just say, oh, I'm not going to eat gluten or I'm not going to eat dairy than actually showing up, building solid habits and following through on those. It's easier to restrict.
Yeah, 100%. So let's not restrict. What's going to be on top of your pizza when you decide to either make a pizza, because I know you make homemade pizza, or you go to a pizza place? What's the topping that you're like, this is utopia?
Well, pepperoni always has to be involved. Oh, but there is a specialty pizza place around here that does dill pickle pizza, and that is almost life-changing. It's so good.
I've already had my ranting and ravings with people who are slapping pineapple on the pizza. Now I've got to fight the pickle party.
Oh, it's so good. It's like a white pizza. They use fresh dill. They have like 3 different types of cheeses, and they got pickles on top.
Can we call it flatbread instead of pizza? That would make me
no, but it's pizza. It's pizza. It's so good. But like, if I'm making a pizza, like I'm not gonna make that. That's like, there's always pepperoni. Love banana peppers. Love mushrooms.
That's a
red sauce. Lots of cheese. Always more cheese than sauce if it's up to me.
What's the food that when you bring it out, chance goes the wildest over?
Where do I start? But his top ones are definitely cheese. Like I just had some string cheese before I got on this. Cheese and even the shreddy cheese because he expects them. Cheese, bagels, and Cheerios.
Cheerios, really?
Yeah, there's a story behind this. I have my mother to thank for this. So when I first got Chance, I had just come back. I just moved back to Buffalo, back home from DC. So I was living with my parents at the time, and I got Chance. And Chance would always get up with my mom, and my mom likes to have like a little bowl of like Cheerios or Lucky Charms as like a wake up snack when she first gets up in the morning. So let me tell you, I cannot open a bag of cereal in peace anymore because she would just be like, oops, some of the Lucky Charms fell on the floor and Chance ate them. Or Cheerios, or, you know, it was usually Lucky Charms or Cheerios for her. So now, every time I open a bag of cereal, there he is. He knows the sound, just like the string cheese wrapper.
Would he have the same reaction to my favorite cereal, which is Raisin Bran? It's not Cheerios. It's not Lucky Charms. I told you, 17 going on 80.
Yeah, you really are. I'm surprised it's not like grape nuts or something.
I love grape nuts.
You would. Let me pick the most boring cereal ever and make that my favorite.
The
Jason.
Best combination is Raisin Bran with some grape nuts and shredded wheat. Are you kidding me?
Do you have that with your prune juice in the morning?
For all you people out there, just know this is 50. So eat your shredded wheat, kids.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, I mean, first let's start with like raisins are poisonous to dogs. But I would say he probably, yeah, grapes, raisins, yeah, dogs can't have those.
All right, don't serve that shit to your dogs, kids.
Right? Yeah, he would probably spit that out.
Good for him.
Like just like one of the bran flakes, he would probably spit it out. He has a very refined palate for the nicer things in life. He doesn't eat vegetables. Mm-mm.
I was talking to a friend the other day about I've come to realize how much I actually really like raisins, because Adam Lee asked me on our Food Fight Friday at the aid station, one of the options was raisins, and I was like, I would absolutely eat the raisins, and it dawned on me, oatmeal raisin cookie is my favorite cookie, carrot cake with raisins is my favorite cake, and Raisin Bran is my favorite cereal. So I'm inching towards that prune juice, you know, eating prunes out of a jar kind of thing real soon.
Yeah, I have questions. I have questions about this.
Ask away. I have no idea where it came from. I really don't.
Why not chocolate chip cookies? Like a gooey chocolate chip cookie, like fresh out of the oven, like melty chocolate. You would go for a raisin cookie over that?
I would take the oatmeal raisin cookie, a soft oatmeal raisin cookie with like actual whole pieces of oat in there to chew on. Oh, maybe a little icing on there. And if you get really fancy, some dried cranberries to add a little bit of tartness to it. I'm in. Yeah, I would take that 10 out of 10 times over a chocolate chip cookie. That's not, again, don't at me, people. I've already been yelled at once about the chocolate chip cookie debate. I like chocolate chip cookies. I just would prefer an oatmeal raisin cookie over it. As a matter of fact, when we're done with this conversation, I've got a bowl of oatmeal getting ready to be made.
Well, don't get me wrong. I like oatmeal. I had oatmeal for third breakfast this morning, but I would never pick an oatmeal raisin cookie over a chocolate chip cookie, unless it was a bad chocolate chip cookie.
And
cake? I don't really like cake.
You're not a cake fan at all.
It's a texture thing for me.
Interesting. What about pie?
Take it or leave it.
Oh, so what's the dessert? Is ice cream the dessert? The go-to soft serve ice cream?
Soft serve ice cream, gelato.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Pistachio.
I'll go back to Italy for I mean, I do like pistachio. It's not my first choice. I usually would get that like paired with like chocolate.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so usually it's ice cream, gelato. Like if there's a good like flourless chocolate cake, but that's again flourless, right? Yeah. It's basically just like chocolate. Yeah. I always have Reese's at home. I always not the Reese little miniature cups, you know, the ones with the it always tastes better too when it's the Christmas wrapper. It's science.
Science.
But I always have a couple bags of those kicking around. But Reese's peanut butter cups are like my go-to on like a regular day. But like if I'm out to get dessert, chocolate, gelato, always top of the list.
Do you have a favorite chocolate bar? I mean, obviously Reese's is going to be towards the top of the list, but is there a chocolate bar that you would be like, yeah, I'll take this over a Reese's today?
No. unless I would consider a Snickers ice cream bar over a Reese's.
Ooh, that's a good call.
But when we look at it like a Snickers ice cream bar, like you're in it. Like
yeah.
Whereas like Reese's, like I can have like 2 of those if I want a little like, you know what I mean? If I don't want a whole dessert, but I just want a little something sweet, it's just easier. If I want more of them, I can have more, right? I can go by the vibes.
How do you eat the mini Reese's? Are you popping it like aspirin, or do you actually bite it so you end up with like 2 bites out of it?
You want to know what I've actually been doing the last couple weeks is I've been biting kind of like the top and then the bottom. I've never actually done that before until like the last couple of weeks. I was like, oh, that's kind of nice.
I can talk to people about their eating habits constantly. Like, it is so awesome. We talked to Shannon Mick. This was probably a year or 2 ago, and I still remember it. She told me she eats her peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. She cuts it into 2 rectangles and then turns it on its side and eats it like corn on the cob so that she can hold on to the crusts and not get her hands dirty. Like, I was blown away by that. And then Jason Fitzgerald, we had on our fireside chat, and he told me when he eats Oreos, he throws the first one into the glass of milk and allows it to basically disintegrate so that when he's done eating all of the Oreos that he's eating at the moment, when he drinks it, it's like this rush of like a cookies and cream ice cream almost that comes into his mouth when he's done. And it's like, he's like, it's dessert for dessert.
I love that idea.
It's genius, right? And this is why we have these hard-hitting questions on how do you eat a Reese's peanut butter cup?
Right? And I had never thought of it. I would either like take a bite or like pop it in, but I don't know. I was coping with life and watching Veep, and I started eating them like that, and I was like, oh, this is a good idea. It actually tastes good.
It's like the Seinfeld episode when George is eating the Snickers bar with a knife and fork, right? Like most people wouldn't do that. And then you try it and you're like, that's not so bad, I, on the other hand,
it always comes back to Seinfeld.
Always. How do you eat your Oreos then? Are you a spin apart scrape? Are you an aspirin person? Are you a bite person?
Spin. Do the top without the frosting first and then the bottom.
And then the wafer that you're doing without the frosting, are you just just throwing it all in, or are you chewing like?
Yeah, I'm just popping it and chewing it. Yeah. You kind of just like got to get through that to get to the good part.
So you're the kind of person who's, I'm going to do the bad thing or the hard thing first to get it out of the way, so that I can move on to the more enjoyable parts of life.
100%. Yeah, like let's just I got to do that. I got to take care of it. Well, let me tell you a story about Lucky Charms and when I was a kid, circling back to my mom. So, grew up, my mom, single mom, raising 3 kids, going to law school, all of that. So she had a box. I think it was even like knockoff Lucky Charms. And one day after school, I ate all the marshmallows out of it. And she was just like, you can't have any other cereal till you finish all the crunchies because your brothers aren't going to want to eat it now because there's no marshmallows in it. So that is how I was taught my lesson about that. My mom's like, we're not wasting that.
I love it. How did you pick out the marshmallows? Did you just hold the box and like put your hand in there and move around, or did you pour it out?
No, just like in the box with the bag. I mean, we were latchkey kids, so like.
Yes.
I learned my lesson, though. I never did it again.
And now Chance looks at you when you're like, you want some of this stuff, and there's no marshmallows in there. He's like, put the marshmallows in.
Right? I know there's marshmallows in this, Mom.
Stevie, thank you so much for joining me on our Fiery Ember show and making my week off on the right foot. Let the people know where they can find you, where they can get actual tips and ideas and knowledge about nutrition and hydration during endurance sports.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. You can find me on my corner of the internet on Instagram at Stevie Linlin. You can also head to my website, stevielinrd.com. I've got a blog up there with lots of information and ways we could work together. But yeah, that's where I'm hanging out.
Awesome. Hey, listeners, thanks for joining me. We are out.